the Celtics just playing around for no reason. The Celtics, we covered in the middle of the Hawks series, but they officially beat the Hawks. There was no business for that series to go 4-2. There are plenty of times where I get losing one game, but there is no way that they should have lost the game in Boston without DeJounte Murray. Trae Young walks into a three, great shot, but there are plenty of moments you could have won that game. And then there are just times where Jaylen Brown reverts back into Jaylen Brown, where he's driving into double teams, turning the ball over, where we have moments where Marcus Smart, since Tatum and Brown aren't showing up, he takes the onus on himself and then he turns the ball over and it just gets into some ugly situations. And we can't just keep making this excuse for the Celtics like, oh, it's the second round. They're bored because Philadelphia doesn't have Joel Embiid, or they're bored with the Hawks because they think, oh, yeah, it's the Hawks. We're a much better team than them. You just got to go out there and sweep them. Like, I'm sorry, it's hard for you to get up, but you said you learned from last year versus the Warriors. You said, like, oh, yeah, we learned that we need rest between rounds because we gassed out in the finals. Tatum had a wrist injury. We don't want to gamble and have that happen again. Well, why are we already playing around with Philadelphia again without Joel Embiid? They shot 74% from the field in the first half, and they were only up two going into the locker room. And then you lose after James Harden gets 45 points and turns back the clock, which was amazing to see. But now you're down. You give up home court advantage. And the Celtics, frankly, the playoffs last year versus the Milwaukee Bucks, they played bad at home and they won 3 games in Milwaukee and they lost 2 games in Boston. So that was another series where they lost a lot at home. So for me, I'm worried about the Celtics team. As a Boston sports fan, I still think they can get to the finals, but I think they're making it way too hard on themselves. Marcus Smart should not have the ball at the end of the game in game one versus Philadelphia. And then if we're going to the finals and we're facing off versus either the Warriors or the Nuggets, this shit ain't gonna fly. Like, I'm sorry, but like this is inexcusable. And this is where we miss Ime Udoka. And this is where it seems like, okay, Joe Mazzulla looks like he's a little bit in over his head.
Yeah, I mean, I still think he's doing a great job. I think I don't know if he's in over his head exactly, but for the Celtics, it's like there was no reason why that series went 6. I understand Trae Young had a great 3 to win the game, but for me, it's Tatum struggling to shoot. It's them not playing their defense like they did in the regular season. It's and then in this game, in the Sixers game that just concluded as we started recording, it's like, why does Marcus Smart get the ball with 4 seconds left?
Yeah.
If you want to get a bucket, I can name probably 3 players that deserve the rock before Marcus Smart.
4.
We got Jason Tatum there, who should be taking the last shot because he's their superstar.
Yeah.
Where was he? Did they draw the play up from Marcus Smart? Because if they did, serious questions there.
It looked like a
Jaylen
little
Brown.
pass down, but like you.
Jaylen Brown is another guy who should be getting the ball at the end of the game. Marcus Smart should not be getting the ball with a minute left.
No.
He's not the guy. I mean, he can get very hot and he can be a decent shooter, but give me a break here. And then you guys got to play defense again. I mean, you guys had one of the best defenses in the regular season. And again, I know that James Harden is capable of 45. There's no doubt about that. And he had a great game and one of the best James Harden playoff games I've seen in a very long time, if ever. But at the same time, you guys cannot be toying with teams.
No.
When it comes to championship teams, you need to have the dog mentality. I don't care if you think that the Sixers are, inferior to you. You need to win those games. You have a set amount of games you have to win. You should go out and try to win every single game. You got 16 games to win in order to win the title. And if you sweep them all the way through, you're going to have plenty of rest for the finals. And that's the advantage that you could have over your potential finals opponent. You should not be toying with teams, and you should have won game 1 against the Sixers, but you choked it away.
Yeah.
Without Joel Embiid there. That's a failure for the Sixers. This should have been an easy win for the Celtics.
Yeah, no, Joel Embiid gets another day of rest. And Joel Embiid was someone I was hard on in the regular season. Like, I need to see him get past the second round because I've seen him get tired versus the Hawks, seen him get hurt throughout the rest of his career, and then I've seen him squander a team with Jimmy Butler and JJ Redick, albeit Kawhi Leonard hitting the shot of shots in that game versus Philadelphia with the Raptors. But I still haven't seen you get past the second round. I've seen Jason Tatum and the Celtics play around, but win tough 7 game series where they've been too hard on themselves. So I think this game will be a wake up call to them. The Celtics have gotten up and responded when they've needed to. And then Jason Tatum, been to 5 conference finals, more than Joel Embiid, more than Giannis, more than Jimmy Butler, been to an NBA finals, same as Jimmy Butler. Hasn't done it like Giannis, but I still think you can still win the series. And I think the offense for Philadelphia had a much better flow. It was more James Harden centric. It was a lot more shooting. And then I thought their guard play was really good, but there's still no one on this team who can guard Jason Tatum. There's no one on this team who can guard Jalen Brown, but the Celtics ball movement needs to improve. Your defense has to improve in this series. And then Joel Embiid's still going to come back. His health is a huge question because someone who weighs about 325 barreling up and down the court on a sprained knee, I don't think Joel Embiid is going to be able to come back and be himself in the series. So that's why I do think the Celtics will still win the series, probably in 6. Again, I'll go Celtics in 6. Because it seems like they take on the underdog spoiler mentality honestly better than the favorite at home. Whenever this team is favored, it seems like that's when they want to throw the game away. So still think they can win the series, but it's just annoying sometimes